We did have a number of requests come in, so I will let everyone know that this program is being recorded, so anything you ask will be recorded just for everyone else to be able to hear later on, so we can get more value out of it and more members can see it.
Excellent. Okay, so with this screen, this is where you would go to Facebook. Easiest URL on the planet, facebook.com. For the 8% of you that don't have a personal Facebook page, before you can do anything, you have to have your own personal account. Whether you do things under the guise of your club, you will have to have a personal account to manage anything. It's the way Facebook works. It's kind of like Big Brother. You must belong before you can do anything. The easiest way for you to do that is if you just go to the page and you don't have an account, it will look just like this. You'll want to fill in the information you see here and click Sign Up. If you already have an account, obviously most of you probably logged in before, but you can log in and get to the main page. For those of you that are new to Facebook, this is going to look pretty strange. It'll probably take you a little while to get your bearings, but this is what is referred to as your news feed. All of these people, and I'll apologize in advance for anything strange. I have Facebook friends all around the globe and over 500 of them. You never know what's going to show up in this feed. So I don't take responsibility for all of it. So if you notice here, these are my friends posting things. This is a friend posting something to a retailer's thing. She likes her bags. That's great. Friends posting simple things. People sharing links to news articles. People that share a link to poetry. Businesses that share photos of something that they are interested in, like USAA and Marines jumping into a pool for training. But you'll notice that the only reason I see this is because a friend liked this post. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight. This is a great example, and I want you to remember this for when we get to it later. If you notice right here, this looks like I like USAA. But as you can see here, I don't. Even though they're my bank, they probably wish I would click that button, but I'm not going to. They want me to be able to see this in my news feed. So what they've done is, if you look, right here's the little magic that we're going to talk about tonight when you do open houses and things like that. This is a sponsored story. The story here is that my friend Kelly liked USAA. And because she liked USAA, they get to advertise to me and hopefully get me to like their page in return, because I should like this picture based on what they know about me. And that's what we're going to get to later. That's what I refer to as 3.0, paid Facebook advertising. But let's start at the beginning. You get your very brand new Facebook account, and you have your own personal page. Now those are my 3 sons. As you can tell, I'm quite the mommyaholic. But this is my personal page. This section down here is referred to as my wall. If my friends want to post a public comment to me, they do so by posting on my wall. They would go to my page, they would post a message, it would show up here. So there's a couple of questions you kind of always have to ask yourself, and here's my pastor doing a very good job of demonstrating this. He said, we've got a brand new praise leader coming to church on Sunday. Do you need directions? And I jokingly said, do I really need directions? How blonde do you think I am? He said, no, but I'm hoping your other friends will see this. Smart man. Because right there, just by anybody going to browse my Facebook wall, they would see this. So if they know who Cody Callan is, they might show up. That's a way of using somebody else's Facebook wall to market your stuff. That exact same technique can be employed for your Toastmasters Club. But this is the basic, this is sort of my home on Facebook. When I go out and I find friends, and we become friends on Facebook, most of these people are Toastmasters, I'm sure your friends are the same. I have 579 friends, but when I click on this button right here, it takes me back to my newsfeed. You can get to it a couple of ways. You can either click on newsfeed and it'll refresh, or you can click on this button. This button becomes very important as we start to act on behalf of our Toastmasters clubs, because there's 2 really important questions that we always need to be aware of. And the first one is, who are we posting as? If you ever have any questions, you need to look right here. It means that if I go on any page and I post a comment, it's going to say Crystal Dyer says. As we get into our more advanced concepts, you'll notice that that's not what it says, that I'll be representing another organization or a club, and this will change. But for now, this is me acting as Crystal Dyer. I jokingly say that Facebook leads to schizophrenia because we will have multiple personalities by the time this is all over. It's just the way it works. So now that you've done that, how do you create a page? Well, because we're about half and half, for those of you that have pages already, you'll notice that you can locate the pages that you've created over here on your sidebar. Your sidebar is a very nice, handy thing where all of your stuff gets kind of organized for you. And you'll see here, Colleen Toastmasters. When I click on Colleen Toastmasters, I know that I have administrative rights to this page because instead of seeing it like this, where I just see the cover photo and the logo and what's on the wall, I have this special section up here at the top that's referred to as the admin panel. I can see all the private messages sent to the page. I can see who's liked the page. I can see the traffic, known as the insights. I can go in as an admin and invite all my friends to like the page. And more importantly, I can see all of the history of the notifications, things that has occurred on the page. It's very important. So if you don't have a page, you ask yourself, well, that's great. I see how you get to yours, but how do I create one? Well, let's start from the beginning. Again, I'm going to go back to my newsfeed, sort of the home page, and we'll go from there. If you go to Pages, you can go down to Pages feed. You can see these are different pages that you might like. Typically, they're companies, nonprofits, senators, whatever the case may be. And you can see all the ones there. You can go to Like Pages. And when you go to Like Pages, this is where you would search. So whether it's a business or anything else, I can search for people that I might be interested in following. So let's look up Toastmasters clubs. If you simply type in Toastmasters, helps if you can spell, you get all kinds of results. Now, Facebook is smart in the sense that typically it will return the results that are most likely to be the ones you're interested in. They're doing their best, dead level best to guess. So I see here bachelors and bachelorette Toastmasters. I'm about 10 years removed from being eligible for that club. But you can see Toastmasters all over. We get a lot of good responses. Some people that haven't updated their branding yet. And from there, we see that Toastmasters International, the main page, has 20,860 likes. Currently has 782 people talking about it. That means they've shared a post, they've commented, something to that effect that would spread the word about TI throughout Facebook so people that don't know about it might. This is a great way to go. And then this is page invites. Remember where I said as an admin, I'll show you one more time, of a page, if I were to go in and invite these Toastmasters to like this page, when they went on their own personal Facebook account and went down to like pages, in their suggested pages, it would show up here. They would also get a notification, a little bubble up here in their notifications, saying so-and-so suggested that you like this page, like this. Amanda Olson has invited you to like her new page, Amanda Olson Photography. This is how you can get people to like your Facebook page from the ground up. So the first thing we want to do is create a page. So like I said, you can go back to your news feed by clicking the Facebook button, go to Like Pages, and the next thing that you're going to do is click on this green button that says Create a Page. So let's do that. Now you ask yourself, well, what am I? Well, some people say cause or community. I think we're a formal nonprofit. We're organized as a 501c3. We're most appropriately fitted as a company, organization, or institution. So we're going to select a category. Well, what might we be? Simply put, we're a nonprofit organization. Who are we going to be? Well, tonight I'm going to create a Facebook page for another club in the district, and then I will turn it over to them later so that they have less work to do. So let's see, who do we want to create a Facebook page for? Let's do one for the Toast of Temple Toastmasters. Type it in, tell them that you agree to the terms, and click Get Started. So then it asks you to set a profile picture and to tell everybody a little bit about your club. Well, I've taken the time, since I do a lot with the graphics, of downloading all of the approved graphics, which I put into a lovely marketing folder. And all the approved graphics that are available to you on the TI website. They come in 3 categories: club meetings, conference and networking, and headshots. And then I can browse through here and decide which one I want. Or I can go in and I can use the simple logos. So for your profile picture, because it's meant to be small, typically this picture is a good one. You can use anything you like, but this does keep with the branding, and it is about the right size to fit into the window. So it will allow you to upload that one. I didn't like that very much. There we go. And then I simply click Next. Looks good. Now when I click next, it's asking about. Well, very simply put, whatever goes in this box is usually the only text people will ever see about your club. You want to make it kind of provocative, but for the sake of keeping this simple, I'm going to leave it blank for now and show you where you can go to get good stock copy at a later date. If your club has a website, you'd put it in here. So maybe, and for the sake of this club because they don't have a custom URL, you might put in your EasySpeak website or your Free Toast Host website. Whatever gets people out to learn more information about your club, that's great. But in this instance, it's Toasted Temple. This isn't really a site yet, .com. And will this page represent a real organization, school, or government? Yes, we are real. We are there. We do meet every week. Save info. Now I have my brand new, fantastic Facebook page. And you can start off by giving yourself one seal of approval by liking your own page. That's fantastic. And then it talks you through how do you get people to like it. Well, if you have your email contacts that are mostly Toastmasters, feel free to start right here. Go into next, invite your contacts, it's fantastic. Or you can just start by posting something. The next thing that you want to do is make the page appealing. Well, you can see that this picture doesn't fit into this box. This is the number one faux pas that most people make when they create Facebook pages is, I don't know who Toastmaster is. We want to make sure that they know it's Toastmasters. So when you hover over it, the image is correct. It just doesn't technically fit into this box. But if you hover over the picture and click on Edit Profile Picture, you can say Edit the Thumbnail and click Scale to Fit. Next thing you know, we're not Toastmaster, but Toastmasters. Much better. Then we want to add a cover photo. You can be as creative as you like here. There's plenty of stock imagery to choose from, and that's what I'll use for the purpose of tonight. But if you have a picture of your club meeting place that's inviting and shows people having a good time, I encourage you to use that. People can pick out a stock image. It usually works better if it's of your club. Typically people are smiling. Maybe it's a group of your officer installation or the entire club standing behind your banner welcoming guests to come in the door. Whatever the case may be, just make sure that it looks friendly. That's the important thing because people are going to draw their opinions based upon what they see. What I typically try to pick if I'm building a club or a page for a club that doesn't have one already is I like to go through the images and look for something that would make me want to come visit. So I usually use a club meeting picture. It's better if it's in landscape. This one would work, but it's not going to stretch across properly. This one would work better. This one shows people interacting, so I'm going to go with that one for tonight's use. So I'll click Add Cover. It thinks about it for a moment. You know it's loading because it's telling me it is right there. And it loads it there. And then I can say drag to reposition. So if I want to drag this, I can move it up or down, but that's pretty good. It doesn't cut his head off. It doesn't cut off her face. All in all, pretty happy with that placement. Then I can simply click Save Changes. Adding information about it, what I prefer is not making life harder than it needs to be. So I'm going to show you where I got our copy from. I wrote it for one club and haven't had to write it again. So for my home club, Lone Star Toastmasters, I wanted to have the best snippet I could think of, which is, since 1924, Toastmasters International has been recognized as the leading organization dedicated to communication and leadership skill development. Well, I don't believe in making life difficult, so just go to a page that has it created, highlight the text, I just hit my key control for copy, and then I can go back to my wall, and I can go back to the new Toasted Temple webpage, and I can go down to the About and add information. Copy, paste, and save. You would do the exact same thing under the About tab. You can edit it, you can add more, you can add less, but if this is all you do, you've created a Facebook page that allows people to do two things. See who you are on Facebook and get out to your website for more information. Anything that you do above and beyond this is gravy, but this is sort of the bare minimum. What are you? Because most people frankly don't know. How long have you been on Facebook? You can't control that. And contact information. You can go so far as to put phone numbers for your VP of membership if you'd like, or if this is for a district, you could do your Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, whatever you prefer. But you can go back here.
Hey,
Now,
Crystal, we have a question that came in from Paula, so I'm going to unmute her. It actually came in just a few minutes ago, but I've been holding it off. Paula, are you out there? Hey, Paula, do you still have your question?
It had to, excuse me, took a bite of dinner. Had to do with the muting, but can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's all it was. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It just said it was muted by somebody else, and so I didn't know if I was getting on. I'm cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now we have a basic page created. The other big thing is, well, how do people find us? So right now, everyone that's on the webinar, if you're in front of your computer, I'd like you to go to Facebook. If you already have your account, I'd like you to go to your Facebook wall. And up here in this search box, I'd like you to type in Toast of Temple. Look like this. Now, like I said, Facebook's smart. It put me right up at the top because I created the page. Yours may be a little further down in your results, but type in Toast of Temple and click on it. You should be looking at this. I would encourage all of you to go to this button right here and click like. That way I'm going to have a few of you do comments, and we'll do some tagging a bit later. So the more of you that like this page, the easier it will be to do a little bit of interaction so that you can get your hands dirty in getting some of this stuff actually done. Okay. So now we have the page set up, and we're getting more likes by the moment. That's good. So here's what I want to show you. The first thing when you have a page is it's not a megaphone. This isn't like old school advertising where you hold the megaphone up to your mouth and you tell people how fantastic we are, and then they like us and they want to come. The entire purpose of Facebook is interaction. Questions, pictures, statements, videos, all of those things are more valuable than simple advertising comments. Pictures are the #1 thing on Facebook. They get the highest amount of interaction. The second is video, followed by questions, followed by polls, followed by statements. So come out and join us on Friday has nothing on a picture of your club that says come join us on Friday. Exponentially different in how many people you're going to reach. So you'll see all this tasks here that you do when you create a Facebook page. I can see all of you coming in as likes. I appreciate that. But the big thing that you'll notice is that I have the chance to go out and invite friends. The easiest way to do that is to click See All, and then you can be even a little more kind to yourself, as opposed if you're like me and you have over 500 friends, it can be a little rough. You can click Recent Interactions, or you can sort them by location. So if this club is in Temple, I might want to say who's in Harker Heights. These are all of my friends whose profiles indicate they live in Harker Heights. I might invite these people, and then it might make sense if they know what Toastmasters is. If not, that's okay. Spread the word anyway. Here's all the people in San Antonio. Well, there's Bill Graham. He's our Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training. There's Heather Deal. She's our former treasurer. These are different Toastmasters that are all throughout the district that I'll just annoy with a request to join. Not a problem. And then you click Submit. Now they all just got notifications, like this little bubble up an indicator up here, stating that I've invited them to like the Toast of Temple Toastmasters. And I encourage you to do the same. The next way that you add breadth is if you're not going to be the only person utilizing this Facebook page, you need to add other administrators. Well, how do you do that? Very simple. Go up here to Edit Page and go to Admin Roles. And what I can do is I can type in an email address of another Toastmaster and make them a manager. So Scott, for the purpose of demonstration, can you give me the email that you use for Facebook, please? Never mind. We're already friends.
Yeah,
I type his name. It comes up. There's Scott, and I click Save. He's now an admin. Now, when Facebook asks you for your password here, they're asking you for your personal password. That's the unique thing. It's not that there's a special password for the page. Don't be confused. Every administrator, when they're prompted here, they're prompted to type in their own personal password. So I'll do that. Helps if you know it. There we go. So now Scott's also a manager of the page. Now there's different settings that you can use. If you have somebody in the club that isn't an officer, but maybe is good at posting, you can make them a content creator, a moderator, an advertiser, or an insight analyst. All of these have different parameters that they're allowed to do on Facebook. Questions like that you can search up here, and Facebook will tell you exactly what they have. But the most typical thing for a Toastmasters Club is that your officers tend to all be managers. What that means is that you'll get a weekly report on who's been to your page in your inbox, but you'll also get notifications about every time something happens on that club page.
Hey, Crystal, we had a great question come in from Daniel Flood asking why having multiple admins is valuable.
Okay, multiple admins is valuable because technically for a Facebook page to remain relevant in the eyes of Facebook and in the eyes of Google, there has to be pretty consistent postings, pretty consistent traffic. So if you have someone that's your VP of PR or VP of membership that's very Facebook savvy and they're okay with going in and posting content, that's fine. But it's nice, however, to have other people be indicators because then, or to be moderators for the page, because that way if it's a membership question, your vice president of membership can answer it. And I'm going to show you some identity things later that make it easier. The important thing is if they're going to be an administrator on the page, they probably need to have some Facebook savvy or some pretty strange things can happen. And I'll show you a few examples of that too on how you're not really sure what identity you're posting under, and that can be very challenging. So we're looking at all of this, and we see I posted a page or a picture. You can see there's Steve. He's liked the page. I see this because he's my Facebook friend. If your Facebook friends had liked this page, you would see them here as well. Max has posted in. Wow, so easy. I can do this. Love it. Perfect. So the very first thing is you'll notice that right now my picture is up here, but do you see this banner? It says you are posting, commenting, and liking as Toast of Temple Toastmasters. Change to Crystal Dyer. If I want to post as me, I need to click that first because technically I'm an admin. The way that you can make this relevant so that you're not worried about who you are is this gear wheel over here. This gear wheel allows you to use Facebook as explicitly someone. And so in this instance, I could go down and use it specifically as Toast of Temple. You'll notice that the who I am question has just been answered for me. And I don't have the option of switching to myself. I have that by going back to the gear wheel and going to use Facebook as Crystal Dyer. But in this instance, I know that I'm safe, that no matter what I post, it's on behalf of the club. Now this is key. Chad Schultz is very good. I just invited him and he liked it 21 seconds later. That tells you there's people in District 5 that are just as much a Facebook junkie as I am. Excellent. So the next thing that you have to do is ask yourself, what are you going to share? Now you asked a question about multiple moderators. This would be important because perhaps your Vice President of Education wants to share the agenda every week. It would look something like this. I can show you on the Colleen Toastmasters page what that looks like. I'm going to go back and use Facebook as myself. I'm going to go back to my news feed. I'm going to click on Colleen Toastmasters. And you can see that every week the agenda is posted. Now why is this important? Well, people don't check their email. They get inundated. They're out on the run. They're checking it on their smartphone. This is a PNG file. You want to write that down. PNG is a very small graphics file. You've heard of GIF files. You've heard of JPEGs. PNG is a very clear but small file that allows you to post something like this that's full of text and to still have it be legible, but for the file size to be tiny enough to load on a mobile device. How do you get a PNG? Well, you can save a Word document as a PNG in Word, but if you are a savvy computer user and know how to do a screenshot or a screen capture, if you're using a Mac, it's Command-Shift-4, and then simply drag your cursor over what you'd like to capture in your picture. There is a similar keystroke on a PC for that to happen, which you can Google. Just Google how to do a screenshot on a PC, and you'll get YouTube videos out the wazoo and teaching you how to do that step by step.
It's
that's exactly what this is.
Crystal.
Yes.
On Windows, there's just the print screen button that copies it, and then you can paste it wherever you want to.
There you go. Simple, simple. This small file we upload every week, and there's a couple of things that we do. Now, I'd like you to notice that this has been posted as Colleen Toastmasters, and it says, don't miss this Friday's meeting. Our open house promises to be a lot of fun. And then I did something different, and this is what I would encourage you. This is what I refer to as 2.0. you'll notice that I came in as myself afterwards, as this is a club, a community club that we planted using Facebook, believe it or not. So I went in and I said, thanks, Keith. Now, Keith is our Vice President of Education, who actually posted this as the club. So I went back and said, thanks, Keith, for putting in a great program for open house. It's going to be superb. With Jose, there he is, as our Toastmaster, Howard as our general evaluator, Lisa as our table topics master, etc. And then I can't wait for the speeches by Tim, Bobby, Nathan, Howard, there's Jared, there's Brian. What did I do? Anybody that had a role at the club meeting that I'm friends with on Facebook got tagged in this comment. Now, why? What's the purpose? Well, the bandwidth of a Facebook page, like Colleen Toastmasters, is totally dependent upon the number of likes if you only use the first echelon of marketing skills. That is, they like the page, like you've liked Toast of Temple, and I'll show you what level 1 looks like. So when I go to Toast of Temple Toastmasters, now that you have liked it, all 23 of you, if I want to post something as the club, I simply go in. You can see that I'm posting as Toast of Temple, and I go in to create a status update. And I say, so glad to see everyone, again, helps if you can spell, on Facebook. And I click post. Now, for those of you that are also looking at your computer screen, and because I've liked this, you should see I'm going to go back as Crystal Dyer to my news feed. And all of a sudden, what do I see? Because I like Toast of Temple Toastmasters, I just saw the new status update by the club. That's level 1. Only people that like the page will get that in their newsfeed. That's the perfect way to look at it. So if you only want to reach 55 people, keep posting away with no tagging and you'll reach exactly how many people like your Facebook page. Probably less because Facebook has a sorting mechanism that is based upon a relevance factor. So if it's just a quote like this, if 55 people like your page, you might get 15 to 20 that see it, just because it's not necessarily relevant. Pictures, videos, questions, and polls drive that number way up. So there's sort of a learning curve to how to get more people to see your posts. But again, let's go back and look at some other things that we can do. Going back to being the moderator of the page. Here I am. Now you guys are welcome to click right here. Some people have already liked this. Thank you, Rhonda, and thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that. I can see that there's already engagement with this post. That's fantastic. But what else? Now I can share photos and video. Well, how do I do that? Very simple. Click Photos and Video. You can actually write something about the photo and video, and I'll show you a good example of how we use this for most clubs in District 55. After your club meeting, typically if you award winners, best speaker, best table topics presenter, best evaluator, this is a picture that you would have. So you could say, congratulations to our winners. And then you would click Photo Video, attach a photo, choose the file, and I've saved a few on my desktop so that we can make it relatively easy today. And here's our winners from a couple of weeks. There they are. And I click Choose. And then I click Post. Now when I do that, now I have congratulations to our winners and who they are. Now that's great. I've got a picture. That gets me more engagement. I end up in more of my 23 fans' news feeds. But now I want the people that are in this picture to know that I've posted it, and I want all of their friends to know that they're in Toastmasters. Well, how do I do that? That's where tagging becomes valuable. And this is where it's more challenging to do it as a club and easier to do it as an individual. So you can post it as the club, which makes it prominent, because you'll notice that what I post as the club shows up more prominently than what Max posted. Everything you post is going to get grouped under this thing that says recent posts by others on Toast of Temple. I can click see all, but right now it's only Max. But if 50 of you were to post comments right now, I would still only see it in this little block, and it would continue to roll up under this banner. Whereas when I'm the club, my stuff becomes more important. I can also favorite things or highlight it. If I want to make something very, very important, like a picture or an announcement of an open house, I can click this little button right here that says highlight. and I can make it stretch across the entire timeline so it's very, very prominent for people. Whatever you want to do with it. Say you have a typo. We're not all perfect. I'm blonde. I like to say it happens all the time. What can you do about it? Click the next little button, edit or remove. You can delete the photo, you can reposition it, you can hide it, you can change the date, or this little one, which is kind of nice for like open house announcements and other things that are going to be important for a few weeks running, you can pin it to the top. Well, when I pin it to the top, it stays in this position. I know that based on the indicator there, that little bookmark flap, that no matter what else I post, that's going to stay at the top because that's what I want them to see. And I can get rid of that by unpin from the top. It's very simple. What else? How do we begin the tagging? Let's go into 2.0. How do we begin to exceed the reach of our page when we only have 24 likes? That is where tagging is incredibly valuable. So now I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to get rid of the posting, commenting as the page, and I'm going to switch to myself because I am friends on Facebook with the people that are in my clubs. So it makes it easier for me to do this. Now you simply go over a picture and click on it. You'll notice there's a button here that says Tag Photo. If I click that, then I hover over someone's face. Well, that person right there is Tim Manson. You'll notice I began to type his name and my options of all my friends came up. There's Tim. I can click on Jared Weaver. I know Jared. There he is. Tag Jared. And I can click on Keith Wright. And I can tag them. And you'll notice that as I did that, it tagged them in the description, even though I'm not acting as Toast of Temple. But because I was me and they were my friends, it added them to the description. It's a great way to go. Makes it very simplistic. And if they hover over it, it'll see that I'm the person that tagged them. And we're all done. The other thing that I can do is provide it in a comment. I don't have to do it this way. I can click Done. And you can tag people in simple comments. Now this is great if you want to poke fun or make a constructive comment or something of that nature, just to get a little rise out of people and probably drive up your metrics a bit. I could say something like, congratulations to Tim Manson. And as I begin to type his name, as long as I'm me and not in this thing, give me 1 second. If you go back to the wall and I click here, you'll notice that if I start to type Tim's name, I have the option of tagging him here. It's a great way to do it. So I can click his name, and now they've finally given us the thing where you don't have to be so formal with people and include just their first and last name, but if I hit delete one time, it gets rid of his last name. I could say Tim was a great evaluator. Jared, as I begin to type his name, there he is. Again, I can delete his last name and middle initial. You get the idea. Actually, I think he was a Table Topics winner, but it doesn't matter. He's typically the best evaluator. And I post it. Now you'll notice that everything in this comment is actually black, except for Tim's name, which is blue. So if I go to Tim's Facebook wall right now, what do you see? You see that Toast of Temple posted a picture of Tim Manson. Now, did Tim say that was okay? Well, he didn't set his privacy settings so that he had to approve anything, because there it is. But there you go. Now I have officially marketed my page to not just the 24 people that like it, but to Tim's 114 friends, to Keith's 440 friends, to Jared's 625 friends, as well as the 24 people that like Toast of Temple Toastmasters. I've just increased my visibility by 100-fold. It's amazing. It's a great way. The other thing is you notice that I'm getting notifications as things happen as I moderate these pages. So you'll know what's going on. So say you post something, but you don't want to leave it there. You can go back to Toast of Temple. You can see everything that's happened. Thank you, Ellie, for the like. I appreciate that. Go right in here. And again, edit or remove. I can delete it, whatever I want to do. I'll leave it for now so we can keep using it. Well, hello, Rose from Portland, Oregon. It's good to have you with us. Okay, here we go. Now we'll move into how do we create something that drives it a bit further? How do we create events that we can market to the community at large? Well, we can set up a Facebook event. Now, before I move on to Facebook events, I would like to answer any questions that you have about what I've covered so far, because the next layer is going to be more complicated, so it's easier to answer the questions that you have now. So Scott, if possible, could we open it up for questions at this point?
If anyone would like to ask a question, just raise your hand, or you can use the question in the GoToWebinar area. The hand raising is in the control panel, the mini control panel. It should be the bottom button, a little picture of a hand with an arrow pointing up. I'll give it about 30 seconds if anyone wants to ask a question. Just signal now and we'll get it asked. If not, we're ready to move on. Hold on, we have one that just came in. Claudia, hold on, let me pull you off mute. Okay, Claudia, if you want to ask that one.
Can she repeat just those last steps she went through? She did it just quickly, just now.
As in tagging in a comment?
I got the tagging. It was after that, maybe the comment.
Okay, so
You just
again,
did it about a minute and a half ago.
okay, so to add a tag in a comment without tagging into a picture, as I did before, I went to the post that I wanted to comment about. So let's go over to, say, Rose's post. I can click on Rose's post. Actually, it takes me to Rose's page because I clicked on her name. That wasn't very helpful. But if I click on her, hello from Portland, Oregon, now I can click right here. Shows that it's me. That's good. And I begin to write a comment. Oh, a webinar picture. Check that out. All of you in a room. That's handy. Here we go. So I can say, welcome to the webinar. And if as I go to write Rose's name, because she's commented on this page, she should shows up. Let's see. Or not, because I'm not Toasted Temple. That's why. That's why the number one question becomes, if it doesn't work, you have to ask yourself, who are you posting as?
Okay.
That's why the post didn't show up. Now, if I go back over here and I change this around, and I go into the little control wheel, and I go to Toasted Temple, you'll notice that I get a different result when I do this. Now I go in here, see all of these. And here's Max's comment. I can say, thanks for joining us. And it's still not working. That figures. But I'm replying to his comment. So he gets a notification back. So Max, if he's still listening, he has a notification right now that says Toast of Temple commented on your comment type of thing. I can like as Toast of Temple. I can do a lot of things. But the tagging in the comments, that's why I said it's usually easiest if you do it as yourself. And it's easier if you have to be friends with them on Facebook for it to work. So as people join your Toastmasters Club, be sure that you're connecting with them on Facebook so that all of this works for you. Otherwise, it can be very challenging. So if I go to Colleen Toastmasters, here's a good example. So Joe Wolf was a guest at the open house. Here was a picture of the open house. Here's Joe. Well, I haven't tagged him yet, but he and I are now friends on Facebook because he actually reached out and connected with me. So if I go to tag photo, I can go to, it's a great speaking picture. I didn't notice that. You can tell he's being funny. There's Keith Wright. Here's Lisa Griffin, the back of her head. Here's Joe Wolf. Here's Tim Manson. And there you go. And I don't know if I'm, oh, Melita is on Facebook, so let's see. There's Melita. There we go. So we've tagged the people that you can see. Now if I go over here and I say done tagging, they're all in there. Now if I want to respond to Joe, who said, I enjoyed spending my lunch hour with y'all, thank you for the invite, I can say, as me, I can say, Joe, and as I type Joe, I get all the possibles. You know, well, one's my husband, Joe Dyer, but there's Joe Wolf. So Joe Wolf. But as soon as you hit space, you lose it. So keep typing, wait till the thing pulls up, simply click on their name, and now they are tagged. So I can say Joe Wolf, but if I don't want to be that formal, again, I can just hit the delete button one time, leave his first name in the little blue box. I can say, Joe, it was our pleasure to have you with us. And again, always go back and correct your spell checks. And because he joined, I'll say, see you Friday. And I post it. So now, when I go to Joe's Facebook wall, he has his set so that people have to approve them. And I know that because if he didn't, it would already be here. But that means that he has to approve it. But anybody else that I tag, like I just tagged Tim Manson in that particular photo, if I were to come down here, click on the photo, and I can navigate using the highlighted names, and I click on Tim Manson, all of a sudden, there's Tim Manson. So, courtesy of that, I'm using him as a marketing space for our Facebook club. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any others before we move on?
Hi, this is Steve. How
Hi,
did you
Steve.
get to the invite friends?
Invite friends. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just...
Toast of Temple. You're going to go on your Facebook feed, your news feed, click on the page that you've created. For this one, it's Toast of Temple. And you'll notice right here in your admin panel, this little stuff at the top, over here, invite friends. And it's easier to do see all. And you can go through all, these are the people I've had recent interaction with. I can go search all friends, which gives me a really, really long rolling because I have 500 and some odd friends. Or you can sort them by locale. Everyone in San Antonio, everyone in Texas, everyone in the Killeen, Texas area. There's plenty of Toastmasters in there. It's really whatever works best for you. If your list is manageable, you can do search all friends, and then when you want to invite them, you simply check the box next to their name. Once you do that, then you just click submit. Like I can invite Amy Espinosa to like this page, and we've let your friends know about your page. Thank you very much.
Do you have to be an administrator?
You can share the page with people by sending them a link. But in order to invite, the only way that you're going to get the easy prompt to invite your friends is through the admin panel.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem. The other way that you can do it is this way through invite email contacts, or you can click share page. Share page, you can share the page on your own timeline, which is your Facebook wall. On a friend's timeline, if you want to invite one person specifically and give them a link to the page, it would look like this. If I were to share this page on your timeline, Steve, I would click on a friend's timeline and begin typing your name, and there you are. And then I don't just tell you whatever I want to tell you. You thought you might want to check this club out. Now, but you have it set so that you can't let people post stuff on your timeline. So I would have to send it to you as a message, which would be okay. I can send it in a private message to you same way. So if you ever get that objection from somebody, you can do it this way, and then I can click share page. You now have a private Facebook message. You probably have an indicator right here that says I just shared a page with you.
All right, we had another question come in from Dave Brennan. Once I have invited a friend, will their name stop appearing in the suggestion of friends to invite?
Yes, unless they ignore your invite, in which case they will show back up as an option for you to pester again. Once they like the page, then they don't pop up as an invite anymore.
Okay, and one last question here from Susan Clanton. I have a page I created for our club, but I can't find the admin section. Any ideas?
Okay, well, let's go back to the fundamentals. It may not be a page. It may be a group. So ask yourself, by clicking on the Facebook thing here, where does the page show up? Does it show up under pages, like here, or does it show up under groups? And if you click on it, like here's the group for Lone Star Toastmasters, the number one way to know that you're in the wrong place is groups have pictures of the group members along the top, like so. Now what's the difference between a group and a page? Let's go over that very briefly before we get into the Facebook events. This is a group. This is a private group. What's important about that? The public can't see it. So you can post the agenda. You can post videos of speeches. The great part is this is for internal club business that the world at large doesn't need to see. Things like, it's Thursday, the meeting's Friday. Hey, we don't have a Toastmaster. Anybody want to be the Toastmaster? It's a great place to do it. That way everyone doesn't see that we're disorganized, but we really are. But you can solve internal club problems in a group. Because when there's a notification on a group, then I have the opportunity, I'll show you, like our church has a group. And there are 5 notifications. So when I click on our church group, I can see all the stuff that's been posted. Oops. You know, prayer requests, you know, stuff for Sunday, whatever. Same thing for the Toastmasters Club. When somebody posts in here, I get a little notification for the group. But this totally does not serve. This is great for organization. This is great for internal communication. But this does not serve to market your club one bit. The only way that works is through a page. So, Susan, when you look at it, does it show up under a group or a page? Or does it not show up at all?
Hold on one moment. Let me get Susan unmuted. Hey, Susan, are you out there?
Okay, can you hear me, Crystal?
I sure can.
It doesn't show up at all. I actually have to search up there in that search box for it and find it.
Okay, and what's the page?
It's Aqua Vitae Toastmasters.
If I remember right, it's 2 words, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
There you go.
are.
That's it.
Organization. I see the page. And I see that you're able to post as yourself, but you absolutely don't have an admin panel.
Nope.
Okay. Click on this wheel right here. Does it show up as an option for you here?
Let me check. The wheel. No, I have advertise on Facebook, account settings, privacy settings, log out, and help.
Okay. So that means that you are not an admin on the page. That means somebody else is the admin, but it's not you. So somebody has to be the admin because the page can't be open without it. So would there be somebody else in the club? They have to like the page, so it's got to be one of the 8 people that like the page.
Yeah, I know that's pathetic. Yes, actually I had just texted Alicia and she responded and said yes, she can see it as an admin.
Good. So what she needs to do then is go back to what we talked about before. I'll go back to a page where I'm the admin so that I can show you. Have her go to the page where she sees the admin panel, click Edit Page, Admin Roles, and have her add you right here.
Okay.
And then as soon as she does that, you will see this.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for explaining that.
Not a problem. Okay, any other questions?
There was one more that came in. Ellie had raised her hand. Let me pull her up to mute. Hey, Ellie, you can answer.
Okay, my question was pretty much the same. It was sort of answered. The difference between a group and a page. It looks like pages are more getting it out amongst everybody.
Right, it is. Because here's the thing. If I were to post a picture, like the picture I just posted of them as our winners, if I were to post that into a group, the only people that would see that, even if I tagged people, would be people that belong to that group because it's a closed group. Whereas by posting it on this page, anyone can search Toast of Temple Toastmasters and now find that. That's really where we begin to get traction with the public at large. Like, for instance, with Toastmasters of Colleen Toastmasters, that club has 18 members right now. We're 2 shy of chartering. We're hoping to get them this Friday. Come on, woohoo. But it's been in existence about a month. We kicked the club off on Facebook. But you'll notice that there are 55 likes on the page. So that means right now I've got a group of people in Colleen that like this page that are still feeling us out. They're trying to get a feeling if the people in the club are their type of people, or if it's really what they're looking for, or if we're engaging or friendly. Well, the only way that I can reach these people is by posting on this wall. They see it because they've liked the page. And just like, working off of, tagging people, all of their friends. I'll show you how important pictures are. I'll just give you a good visual. So when we posted the picture, let me find it, where Keith was a winner, this one. I posted this on January the 11th. But when you click on it, you'll notice that on the 19th, I went in. Where's all the rest of the comments at? Okay. Went in here, and you'll see that Keith, after I tagged him, I waited 9 days. So here's the 11th. We didn't get a whole lot of insights. And then on the 19th, I went in and tagged Keith and Jared and Tim. All of a sudden, Keith came in and said, wow, I look old. And then somebody who lives in Huntsville, Alabama that knows Keith commented, congrats, Keith. And again, somebody else that lives in Washington said, best speaker, Keith's always so shy, which is obviously a joke. But all of a sudden, I've reached people in Alabama and I've reached people in Washington. I wouldn't have got there through the 55 people that like the page. I got that through tagging Keith Wright.
Hey, Crystal, how about we move on to events? We've got about 5 minutes left before we hit the hour mark, and I'd like to have everyone see that as well.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So then you get into the page, and you want to go and you create a very specific event, like an open house. And I can show you that on here. Colleen Toastmasters created an event, and it shows up like this. Be sure to mark your calendars. Here's the special event. We've invited all of these people. You can invite, once you post it on your page, people can invite their friends passively that aren't admins of the page. Everybody sees this. This is a good way to mark it. But how do we do it? Well, let me go back to the one we've just created so you can see it from scratch. Here is Toast of Temple. Now let's create an event for Toast of Temple. Well, I can do post, video, interesting. So you can go to events through your Facebook feed, like so, and you'll notice that all the ones I've been invited to show up under my news feed, under my private messages in the events tab. These are things I've been invited to go to, most of which are involved with Toastmasters. And you'll see this lovely button, Create Event. Yay! So what's it going to be called? Well, maybe it's the Toast of Temple Open House. Now, if you are going to pay for Facebook marketing, make the details thing very catchy. Something like, afraid of public speaking. Make it a question. So, question, something fun, and then a command of what we want them to do. Are they afraid of public speaking? Have fun, conquer your fears, join us. Where is it? Well, I'm going to give you a location. So we meet at one of our clubs at Let Us Do the Cooking restaurant. And there it is. So I tag them. When is it going to be? Well, it's going to be this Friday at a time. Well, we meet at noon, which Facebook doesn't like. They say 12 p.m. Is there an end time? Yes, we're Toastmasters. It ends at 1. And privacy, friends of guests, or make it public. If you're trying to get people to come, make it public. Create. Here it is. Now I can do a couple of things. Again, add an event photo. Well, simple. Choose a file. Go back, pick a picture. Club meetings is a good one. That'll work. So there's the picture. So I'm a host. Same thing like creating admins. The more hosts you make, the more invites can go out. So it works exactly the same way. I can invite friends or I can edit it, the whole 9 yards. Well, let's edit this event. I already know it's public. Put in some information. Now I can put full information right here about it and give them all sorts of good stuff. I can also go through to settings and I can edit hosts. Well, anybody I want to add, well, say I want to add Scott because he's going to invite people to come to Think in Texas all the way from the West Coast. Makes perfect sense. There's Scott. Now he can add friends. So if Scott goes in, now I made him a host. I can comment on it. I can say, Scott, again, tag him. be sure to invite all of your friends. That also shows up on his wall, unless he has privacy settings, which he does. But that's the basic idea behind the events. Now you'll notice that when I go to Toast at Temple Toastmasters, that we'll have the event available. Back to my event. So here's the Toasted Temple Open House. And there's that. So this is me creating it as me. There's another way. Once your page has enough Facebook events, you can message all the guests. You can create a repeating event for your Facebook, for your club to have a Facebook event for every meeting. You can share the event, which I encourage you to do, and then you can promote the event. Now, what does that look like? That is where we get into sort of 3.0, and that is paid Facebook advertising. Well, what can that do? When we talked at the very beginning of the hour, we said that there are sponsored stories, just like this one. Julie Ton, a Toastmaster in Austin, likes Wix. Here's whatever Wix wants to show me, and I see that because of this right here. It's a sponsored story. That means that Wix is paying for me to see when my friends like their stuff. Your open house would be exactly the same way. There are two types of ads on Facebook, and for as little as $1 a day, a $5 budget in a given week, you can market your club or an open house. It's better to do an event on Facebook. Now an ad, if you do a sponsored ad, ads are all of these things right here. This is everybody that's paying for me to see their stuff. These are sponsored stories. So when you do a sponsored event, if Julie registered for our open house, they would have a button here that says join the event. And they could like the Facebook page and register to attend our event all in one place, which is a fantastic way to drum up business. We used it for Colleen Toastmasters, and I like to think that people have very short memories on Facebook. They're sort of more input oriented. And so we got a location for the club. We created a website for the club. We created the Facebook page for the club. And then on the Monday prior to our kickoff meeting, I paid for $100 worth of Facebook marketing. We only spent $80, and we had 37 people RSVP to the open house, and it looked just like this. This was one of them. This is our second one that we held. But we had a bunch of people that RSVP'd to the event, came to the thing, and learned about Toastmasters for the first time ever, all through Facebook marketing, because you can select demographics. Do you want business owners? Where do you want them to live and work? Within 5 miles, within 10 miles of your meeting location. And as you build it out, like if you go to Ads Manager, you can see some of the demographics. I'll show you. Here's the sponsored ads. Here's some of the Facebook marketing that we've done for open houses. We set $50 limits for open houses for existing clubs that need members. We set a $100 budget for Facebook marketing for new clubs that we were starting in communities. And you can look at the demographics. So the open house one on this budget, the campaign was set to reach, we had the ability to reach lots of folks, but this is the targeted reach and the social reach, clicks and actions. So when we started the Facebook advertising, 19 people clicked that day, 5 clicks, 9 clicks. Shows you pay by click and by action, and this is the ad. The sponsored story looks different, but you can see the click-through rate. And I said that this sponsored story targets people who live in Killeen, are 18 and older, are not already connected to Toastmasters, or are friends who RSVP to the event. And you can be very specific. And that's really what Facebook advertising can do for you. It can be very, very powerful. Catastrophic cap. You saw on that one, it said the lifetime budget. Here's one for a group we did out in Highland Lakes. They only got their marketing in like 3 days before the event, so they had a huge spike, but their impressions went way up, and they actually had 6 guests at the event, and it cost us not all that much. I think it cost us less than $40. So it was a great way to go. So that's basically all the time that we have. I will stay online and answer any questions that you have. If we want to get into some more advanced concepts, we could probably do another one. I know that several districts have asked for these, but I know that it's a lot to cover in an hour, so I will stay online and answer any questions that you may have.
And I'll mention a few housekeeping things real quick, just so everybody knows. As I mentioned at the beginning, we did record this session, and I will be posting that hopefully up to our YouTube channel as soon as possible so that we can share that with everyone and everyone can get the benefit, including those other districts. We also have a group that we are creating so that we can share and discuss marketing clubs on Facebook. I will send out an email to everyone who is registered to attend with the link to that group so you can jump in there and join the group. Again, since we want to have private discussion, it's a group, so it doesn't show up in the feeds, but it gives us the opportunity to have that conversation, ask those questions. So that'll be a resource we'll have later on tonight that'll be available. With that, I'll open it up to any questions. If you want to raise your hand or post your question, seeing a number
Scott,
of...
there is one more thing I'd like to show them that I didn't get to cover that can be very valuable for them very quickly.
Sure.
It's called sharing comments. So when somebody posts to the Clean Toastmasters page, somebody else, let's go and do it on the Toasted Temple actually, because some of you posted things, and I'll show you how it works. So as the moderator for Toasted Temple, I like what you've posted. And Rose, you posted this great photo, but because it's hid in that little thing, I want everyone to be able to see it. So I can like it, but this button right here has a lot of power. So I'm going to click share. Where do I want to post it? I want to post it on the page, and then I have to tell them which page, Toasted Temple. Okay, and I can click share. Now instead of being piled into this file cabinet of posts, now when I refresh this page, and I go back to Toasted Temple, it's not cooperating with me tonight. What is the deal? Again, it's because I shared it as me. Always ask yourself, if it doesn't work, why isn't it working? Because I shared it as me. Well, that didn't do me any good. So what do I really need to do? Go ask myself, who am I using Facebook as? Go in, make myself acting as Toast of Temple. Now I can go back to your comment and actually do it correctly. So here is, we'll share. I can do, I can share this piece. And then again, I'm just going to make it bland. Again, helps if you can spell. When I share it, it was successfully shared with Toasted Temple. And sometimes this makes it just a lot, frankly, a lot easier to get information out. And I'll show you how this can be used. So our Vice President of Education for the Colleen Club is not all that Facebook savvy. And so he typically posts things to the page as himself, as opposed to as the club. And again, because he doesn't post it as an administrator, it gets buried. And this is a good example of that. Here's Keith. When he posted a photo, well, the photo is important. It's the agenda. So I click share. And again, I'm going to ask myself the all-important question. I'm posting, commenting, and liking as Crystal Dyer. I need to change it to Colleen Toastmasters by clicking that. Go back to his picture and click share. And as the club, I can say, another great meeting's lined up this week, and share the photo to the timeline, which has been done. Click on that to refresh. And then I can go in and post comments about every single person that's in this agenda so that they get tagged, so that when they see that Jose Segura, who is a member of our club, he's a local real estate agent, but he's also a member of the city council, when everybody who's Jose's friend sees that he's going to be our Toastmaster, maybe they show up. So that's how sharing can be really valuable. Another way that you can use that to create content is actually if you go in as the page. For instance, if I go in as Colleen Toastmasters and I like particular pages, I can actually share their information on my wall. And I'll show you an example of that on the District 55 Facebook wall, just for the sake of argument. Sometimes you need, like I said, you need to post content weekly, if not more often. Sometimes it's hard to come up with what to post, so you can just, creatively borrow what Toastmasters International puts out. So that's what we do for our district page. You'll notice, like, Toastmasters International put in, just in case, they said that the banners are going to go on sale. So what I did is I shared that link, and I said, just in case you want a discount. There you go. They said that they posted the winners of the Show Off Your Brand. I said, congrats, how's your club doing with the new branding guidelines? You don't have to create your own content. Feel free to share what TI posts, what other districts post. It's kind of a nice way to not have to reinvent the wheel. But that was the one thing that I didn't get to cover that I think will help you out in putting out good content on your pages and sharing some other stuff. See there, I shared Keith Wright's photo. There we go.
Excellent. We had a question come in from Emma, and she had asked, how can we target our potential guests and members better? It seems like all of our likes and joins are from fellow Toastmasters.
Okay, it's a great question, but like I said, that's 1.0. 1.0 is you create the club Facebook page, and then you make absolutely everybody that's a member of the club like the page and become your Facebook friend so that you can begin 2.0, which is tagging, doing pictures, and all of that good stuff. Because the only way you're going to get beyond this number right here is through engagement, which requires pictures and tagging. Tagging is the #1 way to drive up the engagement so that, here, let's be honest, some of you don't follow the 3-foot rule, which is anybody that's in 3 feet of you learns about Toastmasters. I get it. Not all of you are lieutenant governors of marketing. But you may be a VP of PR for your club, and you're just not quite sure how to make sure that everybody that's in the club and everyone that knows them knows that they're a Toastmaster. Tagging is the way that we accomplish that. When, the truth is, there's people that are members of my Toastmasters clubs that are very quiet people. They join Toastmasters because they want to improve their ability to get out of their shell and deliver great presentations, but that doesn't make them an extrovert when they go to work or an extrovert when they're in the community. They're not walking up and telling people in the grocery line about Toastmasters, let's be honest. But if they work in an office and they're friends with their coworkers on Facebook, and you begin to tag them as the best speaker or as the Toastmaster or the timer or whatever, all of a sudden, the people that they work with, who probably had no idea that they were a Toastmaster, strike up conversations like, hey, I saw that you won some best speaking thing. What's that all about? Now you have an introvert that works in a crowded office building that didn't have to initiate a conversation about Toastmasters, but can lovingly say, yeah, I joined Toastmasters so that I could improve my communication skills. Would you like to join me? It opens the door for them to be able to invite people without being required to initiate. It's a really nice passive marketing tool.
Excellent. Our next question, Dave Brennan. Dave, what's your question?
Thanks, Scott. Could you explain again how to set up our club as a group? I've got a page set up, but I didn't follow how to do the group thing.
The group works almost exactly the same way as the page does. You simply just go down to create a group under group, and you can create it starting right there and determine if it's going to be open, closed, or secret. I personally would pick one of these two because, again, this should be used for internal club business. Some clubs I know that are very tech savvy. We have a IT company in Austin that uses a secret one just for their club officers to talk about dues renewals and things like that. Closed would be a good one if people have to request access to the club group, and then you can post it in there. This is good if you're going to videotape speeches and you want everybody, even the people that missed the meeting, to be able to see them and provide great feedback. You can post them in a group with a link out to YouTube, to an unpublished link on YouTube, so that everyone can see the speeches, but it's not shared with the world at large, making people uncomfortable.
Okay, thanks, Crystal.
Not a problem.
All right, our next question. We had one more that I saw hand raised. Pradeep. Oh, sorry about that. I did not get you unmuted. Hold on. Okay, Pradeep, you're unmuted now. You should be able to chat.
but I don't hear Pradeep. Pradeep, you have a question for us?
Pradeep, we can come back to you. Raise your hand if you still have another question. I do have another question that came in. This is Todd and Kaiser, and I'll unmute you, Todd, as I ask the question. Can you create a group on a page? I see it on the personal site, but not on the business site.
You'll have to explain that question, Todd.
Yeah, Todd, are you out there? Oh, no microphone, unfortunately, on his computer. Todd, if you might be able to type a little bit more detail. I'm not sure I fully understand your question.
Well, in truth, to just delineate the two, pages and groups are completely exclusive of one another. Pages are fan pages. People from the public can see your page. They can like it, never having attended or been to a meeting or be approved by you. You can boot people off of a Facebook fan page, but you can't keep them from liking it initially. Groups, on the other hand, are restricted access. You can set it so that it's closed or secret, and only the people that you invite and or approve are able to see the content within. They're two very different. You don't have, they're never combined.
And that might be exactly where he was getting confused. He just posted, when I look to set up a group, I do not see it on the business page. So, Todd, if you switch back from the page to your own personal account, that should be what you'd need to do to create the group.
Click your wheel, go back to using Facebook as you. You'll see yourself here. Go back, click Facebook, go back to your news feed. You'll see pages delineated from groups.
Yeah.
What else?
Frank King had asked, we currently have a page displayed. Do we still need a group setup? And this goes back to what you were
Groups are
talking about.
totally optional. Groups is just a matter of if your club wants to have one that you can use to communicate internally. Most clubs just use email, to be honest. But there are lots of clubs that have very tech-savvy people in them, and they enjoy having both. For the purposes of marketing your club, the only one you need to worry about is a fan page.
All right. I don't see any other questions. Thank you guys all for being here. Frank just added back in, would having a group and a page be too much and too confusing on the eyes? And Frank, I am in that tech sector, so for me, nope, not at all. I understand it. I can keep them separate. For other members, I've seen it go both ways, just kind of commenting as an outside person here. I have seen people where posts that would be better in the group go to the page and vice versa. It just depends on your audience. If you want to keep everything focused on the external marketing, stay with the page, and don't worry about a group. Use email or some fully separate communication for that. If you've got a more tech-savvy group that can understand that difference and what it matters, there you go.
Yeah. One of the other things that you might want to do to kind of determine how much you publish is, I'll show you another thing that we use at Lone Star Toastmaster that's very helpful. We do meeting recaps, and we post them on Facebook, but we do it through our club webpage. And the club webpage has a blog roll, and this may be way more complicated than some of you want to tackle, but it does make the VP of PR's job much easier because they don't have to post things twice. So the VP of PR does a meeting recap on the blog, and you can see that the tool we use posts it directly to Facebook once it's posted. So if you go out to the Lone Star website, this is the blog, this is our webpage. And this was the meeting recap. This was one of our members giving his icebreaker. Here's the full breakdown of what happened for our members that missed it. Here's the winners. And people can comment. They can share on Facebook right from here. But the moment our VP of PR posts this, then it also comes out on Facebook. And people can see here, and then people can comment on Facebook. And I always go in and do what I've talked to you about, which is tagging people. Bailey gave a great speech. Arturo, Jerome, Michael, Tim, Carmen, Matab. You know, that's just, now here's an example of somebody that's trying to use Facebook, but isn't quite sure. Matab thought he was posting as himself, and he actually ended up posting as the club. But he was pumping ourselves up. Lone Star Toastmasters rock. Yes, we think so. And we are the best club ever. We're a little conceited, but come be a part of it every Tuesday. He meant to say that as himself, because obviously we don't want to try and post anything that's terribly conceited or inflammatory from the perspective of the club. So there's a couple of clubs. I'll show you an example. We had a club that did something similarly funny. You'll notice that this group ran an open house. This is great. But when you look at their open house comments, it got a little strange because somebody was posting as the club and didn't realize he was, and then started answering as himself, and it made for a very disjointed conversation. So you always want to ask yourself, who am I posting as? Because it makes things be a little strange for the onlooker who doesn't know who's actually an administrator. So you just want to be careful.
All right, well, thank you all for sticking around for the questions tonight. I don't see any more. I will send out an email with the details on the Facebook group for coordinating this and just being able to ask questions inside there. And it sounds like there's definitely some opportunity for follow-up, really to get into targeting out those customers, getting the ads listed and making all that work for your clubs. So get onto the Facebook group, make sure your pages are all set up for your clubs, and we'll be looking forward to chatting with you guys on there. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.